All right, guys, today we are into session 6 of Visual Perception Principles and we are looking at perceptual set. So this is expectancy. So you could see two different images here. The man tends not to change too much for most people, but the woman, you can either see her as almost dancing with him, and this is her face, or you may see her facing away from him, and this is her face. So you could go either way, and your choice on what you see initially, and even what you see later, is based on expectancy. When I explained it one way, you probably see it that way. When I explain it the other way, you probably see it that way. Whatever you saw first may be based on your experiences, which causes your expectancy. So what is perceptual set? It is the predisposition or readiness to perceive something in accordance with what we expect it to be. So it may be the context of the situation is why we expect it to be that way. Your motivations, for example, you might be very hungry, so you see something as food, even if it's actually soap. Emotional state. So perhaps if you're feeling upset at a partner, you might see that woman in the previous picture as facing away. If you are deeply in love and love dance, you may then have seen it as a dancing, where they were facing one another. Or past experience. Now, culture is a little bit of an interesting one, but we will look at that. So we are going to watch our YouTube clip here, but I will get you to do that in your own time. All right, look at these two pictures. Do you notice a difference? If you look very carefully, and you look right at their mouths, you will notice that in actual fact, her mouth is actually upside down here. Now we expect to see a mouth smiling like this. Therefore, we see that as perfectly normal. You might not have spotted the difference. But if you turn your head upside down now, you can see it's a very distorted face. But because we expect to see a smiling face, as we did in the first image, that looks normal to us. Okay. Again, I'm not going to show you the YouTube clip. You can click into those and have a look at them later. But I want you to stop and think, what do you see in this image here? I'm not going to give you any clues. I want you to just think what you see. So we're looking at context. And context refers to the setting or the environment in which a perception is made. So here you can see in this example, A, in that context, we're thinking letters. So we go A, B, and C. Whereas if you start with 12, you see it as 12, 13, 14. So the context of letters or numbers changes what you perceive our middle symbol to be. Is it a B or is it a 13? All right, let's go back to our picture over on the side here. If I was to tell you it was a mammal that you see in this picture, in that context, what do you see? Hopefully you see a mouse or a rat. If I was to tell you that there are people involved in the image, perhaps you may see something different. You may, instead of seeing ears and a head and a tail here, start to see this as eyes or glasses, a nose, and a chin with an ear over here. So the context in which you are perceiving this changes what you perceive. motivation. We spoke about this before. If you're happy, you might see your glasses half full. If you're down in the dumps, you might see it as half empty. So you're motivated one way or the other. So internal processes which activate behavior that we direct towards achieving a particular goal. We want to be positive, we want to be negative. So these can be influenced by psychological, biological, or social factors. So what you will see here is wanting to be positive is a psychological factor. It can also change things biologically. So we can look at certain images and perceive someone as being older or younger based on the fact that we are older or younger. You might see something being more so a masculine thing if you are male, for example. Social factors can have a massive impact as well. Emotional state. Emotional state is how we're feeling, affecting the way in which we perceive visual information. So, if you're feeling miserable, down in the dumps, you might perceive this picture as a skull. The two eyes, the nose, the mouth, and this being a skull. If, however, you're feeling happy and social, you may see this as a woman's head, and this is her body, and another woman, and this is her body, and they're sitting at a table. So how you're feeling may change that experience. Past experience can also change how you're feeling. So if you're really into fashion and everything you look at in social media is about faces, you may see this image here as a woman's face. This is her eyes, her nose, her mouth. If, however, you're exposed to a lot of music and musical things, perhaps more surrealist images, you may see this as a man playing a saxophone, where this is his nose and this is the saxophone down here. Similarly, over here, you may not notice that some of these are incorrect. So you always experience cards as being red or black, and there being hearts, clubs, spades, and diamonds. So hearts is normally red, clubs is normally black, spades is normally black, and diamonds are normally red. However, you may see here, this is actually a heart, but it's black. And this is a spade, but it's red. When you look at it, you think, oh, yep, that's just a whole lot of normal cards. But that's due to our past experience. We're not seeing that those cards are wrong until we look really carefully. So it's our personal experiences throughout our lives predisposing us to perceive something in a particular way. As I said, culture can be an interesting one. And this image here, you can see as either a young woman dressed very fancily with a feather in her hair, or you can see her as an old woman. And again, the culture you're brought up in can change that. So culture refers to a way of life of a particular community or group that sets it apart from other communities and groups. So culture isn't just necessarily the ethnicity you have. Culture can be, you're part of a goth culture, you're part of a jock culture, you're part of a stay-at-home culture. So all of these things come together to create our perceptual set, what we expect. And so all of that stimulus coming into us gets interpreted based on that perceptual set. So this is what's happening in the interpretation level. Again, another YouTube clip. I'll get you guys to click into that and watch that separately. All right, next lesson we're doing taste. Can I get you to watch those 3 YouTube clips? And then can I please get you to have a go at the learning activity for today?